Alright, it's rolling. How's that for a view? It's probably gonna be gone by the time I finish this video. Here's the problem. It's not a me problem, it's a you problem. There's so many different videos on YouTube giving care guides on different goldfish breeds. And I figured, well, you know what? I am going to give you guys a secret technique that you can use to look at any goldfish variety and know exactly how to look after it. Instead of going through all these different YouTube videos, you can just watch this one. I am making this video with the assumption you guys already know how to look after your water changes, filter cleanings, etc. If you don't know how to do that, there's plenty of content online that should be able to help you out. If you would like a video from me personally, my advice is basically gonna be the same as everyone else's, maybe just with a few extra tidbits here and there. So let's first start with the common goldfish. Why do people buy it? As far as genetic art is concerned, but it is an excellent starter goldfish. You start on this, you gain the knowledge and experience, and then you upgrade to a better fish, as opposed to, yeah, that thing is orange, I like it. Look at the peduncle. It has a normal body peduncle, single tail. This fish is gonna have the potential to jump out of your tank. Does the goldfish you're looking to buy have a double tail and or a short peduncle? Because both those things is going to limit the fish's power, and it's not as easily going to be able to jump out of a tank. Of course, it is just good practice to make sure that your water level isn't to the very top of the glass, that there is enough distance between the top of the glass and the water itself, or if you want to fill it up a bit higher, to just have a lid for safety's sake. Does it have growths on its body? For example, the bubble eyes, the redcap oranda with that bulbous wen on top of their head. Does it have a long flowing tail like what the Tosakin have? If that is the case, you are definitely gonna wanna go with a sponge filter. Sponge filters are amazing because there's no strong pump that can potentially suck those fragile elements on a goldfish and damage it. The last thing you want is your redcap oranda to look like Luke's Mr. Lobotomy. Luke's redcap oranda didn't get damaged because of a filter system, but because Luke was doing a water change and the fish just, they don't have very good self-preservation is all I can say. Swam too close to the pump taking the water out and took a chunk out of his wing. Now that can recover. Will it ever be as good as new? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on the genetics of the fish and the care that you give it. Is the goldfish you're looking to buy something like a celestial eye, where the eyes are constantly pointing upwards? What you don't want to do is have these fish constantly out in the sun in a pond because, they could basically go blind. Now, granted, things like goldfish do have other senses with which to get food, but, they kind of have eyes for a reason. You don't want them constantly underneath tank lights as well. Now, you might say, well, electrical lights, tank lights, they're not the sun, and you would be correct. But if you look at electrical lights long enough, eventually that can cause damage as well. Therefore, in this instance, you want to make sure that the tank has access to a natural daylight cycle without the fish constantly looking up at a light source. I've touched on this a bit earlier. Any goldfish with long flowing fins, fragile elements on the fish, they can damage those beautiful long fins on an ornament in the tank. Now, yes, the fin can heal very nicely. You wouldn't even notice that it got ripped in the first place. However, if that tear is deep enough, there's gonna be too broad of a split and it's not gonna connect back together. I even had to go and put stitches into a koi's fin in order to get it to stay together. It did heal very nicely though, at which point afterwards the fish decided to end itself by jumping out of the water on top of the net. Why would it do that? Because it's a fish, and they're not smart. Man, I'm gonna hate it if I go back in editing and realize I forgot some stuff. Does your goldfish have telescopic eyes, such as with black moors or demicoons? I have heard that you shouldn't mix the telescopic eyes with the normal fancy goldfish that doesn't have it, because it can make finding food difficult. I have not personally noticed that issue, but it's good to keep in mind. If there's one thing that working in this industry has taught me, just because you've never experienced a problem before doesn't mean it's gonna not eventually catch up with you. Well, I've kept fish for years and I've never had an issue. Yeah, that's what they all say right before they start having issues.